Aloha from Hawaii, specifically the city of Kihei or Kihai, probably Kihai, in the island of Maui. So here I am, just taking a week here, staying here for a week, just enjoying what the locals have literally in their backyard. I mean, this is really what I'm trying to reproduce in the Central Valley, in my yard specifically. And for the most part, just about everything here that you see, we're able to grow. I mean, Soursops, obviously, you know, it grows just with some care, of course. And a fruit that I've never seen before or have never heard of. When the stand owner mentioned to me, this was the way I received it, it was known as an elephant foot. However, when I dug it up, when I did some research, it's actually called the elephant apple, native to Southeast Asia and the China region. I'm told it's quite good. I mean, when I saw it from the stand, I'm thinking it's a young coconut. You know, here I am, an ignorant tourist. But I should apologize. It is quite windy here, so there's going to be a lot of audio distortions. Apologies in advance for that. But it's very stringent and bitter with a bizarre hint of sourness at the end. So you really just peel out the layers and start consuming it as if it's like a palm tree. It's when you eat it without any condiments, very stringent, just like eating a astringent variety persimmon, and also sour. Well, afterwards, sourness. So imagine a stringent persimmon mating with a bitter melon with a hint of lemon at the end. Elephant apple. Yeah. I don't think I can ever get used to the taste. After a little bit of tasting it, when my mouth is numb, it actually tastes pretty good. Yeah. But from what I'm told, though, the best way is to eat it with a hint of salt. It calms down the taste. It's not bad after a little bit. It's still pretty bad, but it's not bad. Yeah. I don't think I'm going to be trying to grow this. As you might know, most of the fruit trees that I have in my yard, it's just pure laziness on my end. Laziness / convenience. I just want to go to the tree, pluck the fruit, and start consuming it that way. Which is why I actively try to avoid fruits such as breadfruits, and even like cocoa pods. I mean, yeah, you could eat the pops, but I mean, I don't do anything with the beans, turn them to cocoa, for example. So I'd much rather just go to the fruit tree, pick up the fruit, and start consuming right there and then. So what do we have here? Well, what don't we have here? The Inga beans, also known as ice cream bean tree, the fruits anyhow. Yeah, so these grow wild here. I mean, we took a trip out to the PP Way Trail, and yeah, I was seeing these left and right along the trail, so they appear to grow wild here. It really does taste just like cotton candy. And the thing too with these, they do great in the Central Valley, I'm telling you. For the first year, there might be a setback or two, maybe the second year. But beyond that, once they find a footing in the ground, I mean, they explode. The more heat, really, the better. And also the seeds have nearly like a 98% germination rate. So I'm pretty confident if I toss this in the native Hawaiian Maui ground, it will germinate. But I don't want to do that. Yeah, it really is. I mean, cotton candy really is going to be the closest with a lot of juice, of course. I mean, this is like all liquid. If you try this and you don't like the taste of it, we can't be friends. Just kidding. Native to the Amazon rainforest, it is really good. I mean, I've got one that's in the ground, like it's like a massive. It's actually one of my more mature tree, Inga, and also I've got one that's right in my front yard. It's getting a good height now, and also I also have one that's it was in the front yard, but then I've since plucked it out and put it in a 25-gallon container. It's doing awesome. So yeah, they do good regardless. The downside with planting these in the container though is just because these are crazy fast growers, you're gonna want a good sized container. Either that or you're gonna have to upsize the container every so often, like almost every year. They need the real estate that is provided by the ground. So just, yeah, you're gonna have to keep upsizing the container if you want it to reach its full potential in producing fruit for you. So, ice cream bean tree. These are what's known as hog plums, or from what the stand-owner told me, they locally here in Maui they refer to it as being mountain plum, but in looking on online, they're hog plums. I mean, at first I couldn't recognize them, but these are for sure hog plums. Yeah, it is. It's good. I like it. So hog plums. Hog plums. I don't have one, just because they are. To me, it's not. There's nothing special about it. It tastes like a plum. So, of course, and the genetically engineered papayas. This is a rainbow papaya. So the cool thing about this is, from what I gathered back in the days, yeah, there was a disease that was basically decimating the papaya crops in Hawaii. So the universities genetically engineered this particular variety, which tastes quite good, but it is resistant against that particular virus. So one note about papayas here in Hawaii. Up and down the road, it's like every other yard has a papaya tree. I mean, they also papaya, specifically with papayas, do really well in the Central Valley. Loves the heat. May get knocked down a bit by the cold, but still loves the heat. I have never had one that died on me because of the winter, so they always bounce right back up. So I'm gonna have to see if I can try to propagate these. See if I try to obtain a plant from the rainbow variety. Chico sapotes. Surprisingly, these are actually quite expensive here. I don't know why. I mean, you would think they would grow wild here, but yeah, no. Up and down the yard, I have yet to see a sapote tree. Yeah, so this is a Chico Ceppadella. Ceppadella, yeah. It's technically a Ceppadella. Sorry, I zoned out there. Just a rush of sugar. it really is brown sugar. I mean, literally, because it's brown. But yeah, does quite well in the Central Valley if you're planting this in the ground or in a container. In fact, I've got several varieties of sapote trees in my yard and also in containers. I don't know why they're so expensive here. I want to say these were like 2 for $5. So, you know, two pieces for $5. Why not? But yeah, yeah, it's really, really good. It's if you've got a sweet tooth, this really will more than fulfill it. Yeah. So I will say the island of Maui, it's got a great plumbing system because the fibers will make you go. Just a tip for you if you're traveling here. So now the mangoes. I mean, yeah, really Hawaii. I mean, I've seen so many different varieties of mango. So these 3 particular varieties are, I don't know much about them. From what I'm told, they are just based on the name. It's probably local to Hawaii, but I want to say these are pronounced Wa'ani mangoes. I mean, to me, it looks just like a Hayden or well, not Hayden. It looks like it reminds me like a Keat or Kent mango, relatively large in size, but anxious to try it out. And of course, these two, they're known as Golden Glow mangoes. Never had them before. I mean, that's how you know it's fresh, because you know you've got sap still on the fruits. Yeah, I mean, this really, literally came from somebody's stand that they had in the front yard. I mean, it's grown here locally. So now, I have no idea what these mangoes are called. The description simply says local mangoes, which could mean anything. But the reason why I pick them up is the fact that it is really, really fragrant. Yeah, I mean, on the way back, it really, I mean, the car was just mango scent. In some ways, it's more, it's stronger than durian, in my opinion, but in a good way. Not that the durian smells bad. I mean, I like the smell. And just by the shape of this, you kind of probably could tell what it is. Native to Thailand. This is a, well, it was developed in Thailand. Nam Dok Mai, the nectar mango. That's really roughly what it translates to. Nam Dok Mai is water flower, which is nectar. So, yeah. And I know I've mentioned this already, but cocoa pods, just like the Inga, the pod it's got pods that I personally like. I know it's not everyone's cup of tea, but I personally like it. And in fact, I'm actually trying to propagate the set that I got from my recent Florida trip. I mean, I may just end up buying a tree from Mimosa. I know they have these. I'm just not wanting to process it, but I mean, I actually do enjoy the pods. It's got a hint of sourness to it. Very similar to the texture anyway, very similar to the Inga. I like it. And of course the beans, you can process it and turn it into cocoa. Yep. But so Soursops, okay? About 5 years ago, when I went to San Jose, you know, at the time I actually lucked out and was able to get myself 2 soursop fruits. At the time, I remember they were roughly about this size. At the time in San Jose, I paid $80 per piece. Might have been combined, but I paid $80 for a set of Soursops. Over here, because this came literally from somebody's backyard, and I didn't bother to ask. I'm assuming they were probably, due to the humidity, it's probably self-pollinating here. But for this whole set right here, I mean, you're talking like $30. Loaded with fibers. So, yeah. Soursops, I want to say it's in the Spanish-speaking regions. I want to say it's pronounced, it's called a guanabana. But yeah, I like it. It's really good. I know a lot of places they mix this into ice cream and basically turns it into an ice cream dessert. It's really good. So of course you can't forget the store fruits. They don't know what variety these are, but gauging the size of them and the kind of the shape, I'm going to assume these are probably the Kerry varieties, which grow quite easily in our climate. So, I mean, since then I've had a number of other fruits that I didn't have the time to or the patience to wait, and I just ate them right there and then. But I had mangosteens here. The of all places, the local Costco here in Maui had like bags and bags of them for, in my opinion, dirt cheap. I mean, in the Central Valley, if you are lucky, your local ethnic store might carry fresh mangosteens, but be prepared to pay dearly for it. But here in Maui, it is really cheap. In fact, a lot of things in Hawaii is cheap. I don't know how it is in your part of the world, but compared to California, compared to Central Valley, gas price here is cheaper than California. There are some downside though. Like our diet, our cooking consists of like lemongrass as being one of the ingredients. Crazy expensive here. I mean, you would think it grows like weed here. I mean, but no. Evidently nobody grows them here. But yeah, I mean, it's like crazy expensive. And in my yard, I mean, it grows like wild. I mean, in fact, I've been plucking around and throwing away just to make room for this other stuff. But yeah, lemongrass is like crazy expensive here. But yeah, I apologize for the tangent there. But yeah, if you ever stop by Maui, we took the road to Hana just a few days ago. A lot of wonderful food stands there. If you get motion sickness, just maybe eat some ginger or take some motion sickness medication, but well worth it. But anyhow, yeah. So again, practically everything you see here really can grow in our yard. I mean, oftentimes without any protection. Of everything you see here, well, minus these because I don't have them, and also the hawk plums, I don't have them. But beyond that, everything else you see here, the only thing that needs protection, in my opinion, when growing in the ground in Central Valley, is the soursop. In fact, all three of my matured soursops that I prematurely took out my greenhouse on, they actually did succumb to the frost, but I'm not concerned because I've got a bunch of seedlings growing in the ground, and they do grow, they do fruit fairly quickly. You're talking 3 years or so. But these are really the only ones that you'll need frost protection on. Beyond that, ice cream bean, Chico, various sapotes, padellas, the mangoes, store fruits, especially the papayas, grow quite well in our Central Valley with little to minimal protection. So yeah, I mean, you don't need to travel 7 hours on a flight here. Just grow in your yard. I mean, why not? It really does grow there. Just when it comes to certain trees and plants, though, you just need to know their preferred climate. Mangoes, notorious for contaminants in water, such as sodium, for example, and also when they say well draining, just think mango. Mangoes need well draining. Beyond that, everything else can grow in crappy soil. I mean, my inga's got no problem adjusting to my clay soil. So is the papaya and everything else. So anyhow, yeah, that's food for you. I mean, you know, you go to exotic places in the world and you taste the fruit, and at the same time, I'm telling you, you can replicate and grow it in your yard as well in the Central Valley. I mean, we are at the sweet spot of growing trees that need crazy chill hours. Apples, I'm talking to you, and also tropical fruit trees. I mean, so yeah, this is Maui. They don't believe in air conditioning. It is just so windy. It's like the temperature is so, you're talking maybe 20 degrees difference between night and day. But yeah, I mean, oh, this is unrelated, but if you come to the city of Kihei, there's a lot of chickens here, wild chickens. It's just, yeah, something you don't see. And also something you don't see too is the fact that, you know, in the Central Valley, you know, you see signs everywhere, no shirt, no shoe, no service. Over here, hey, I've seen people come in without a shirt, no shoes. Hey, they're locals. So anyhow, yeah. So that is it. All right, have a good afternoon.